feeling of uneasiness in your stomachs, or feeling something bad is about to happen. So that feeling of impending doom, or always, having that, the fight or flight response is a big one. That's kind of the triggering system for anxiety. So when you feel that, like there's a fight or flight response, it was a great thing once upon a time, but our brains are from a primitive time. Right. We're not going to be attacked by a fucking saber-toothed tiger anytime soon, I would hope.
I hope not.
Yeah. So when you're just sitting there, especially when we're talking, let's relate this back to kids in school. When you're sitting there and you're getting project upon project piled on you, it's not a life or death situation, but we treat it that way.
Right.
We treat it as though it's going to fucking kill us.
Right.
And the fact of the matter is that it's just a little bit of paperwork. But
I think because we put so much pressure on that perfectionism, right? That like, you have to get 90s, you have to get that. And like, I'm telling you right now, I got into college on 51.
Good for you, buddy. And what are your marks now?
And now I got an 85% average in college, right? But it's a lot of pressure on all these kids to do so well, like educational pressure, and if they don't reach that, then they feel like they've let their parents down, they feel like they've let their friends down, or whoever put these expectations on them. And I think we just gotta let kids be kids, and if they learn at a certain speed,
everybody is different.
Teach them like that, right?
Yeah, everybody grows at a different rate. Do you agree? I mean, fuck, man. I'm almost 34 years old, and I'm just learning how to deal with life properly, instead to respond rather than to react, like snapping, and just getting angry. It doesn't solve anything. It actually costs more than it's worth.
When I went to, when I went through my rehab program or whatever, I remember making a phone call to a friend of mine and saying, like, it doesn't matter if somebody's, like, hooked on drugs or not. Like, somebody could have benefited from that program because there's just life skills.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's, like, communication skills, like meditation, like how to deal with problems, not overthink things.
That's the thing. You're absolutely right, Scott. I think that...
Because I don't think I was... Well, I know I wasn't given the proper tools to, like, deal with feelings and emotions and, like, how to talk.
Yeah, no, I know. I think that's
what led me down my path.
I think that they teach things that are definitely less important than the skills that we should be focusing on in schools.
Even with that, like, we haven't been taught the feelings, especially as guys, because we're supposed to be strong. We're supposed to not show our feelings, not be vulnerable. And like us three doing this now is basically saying fuck you to the standard that we,
absolutely,
you know what I mean, that we have to be strong because it's okay being vulnerable. Like I think it's okay to cry. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger probably has cried in his life.
100% he has.
That's normal. Like if you don't cry,
I cried last night. I told you guys about that.
I cried 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I think that's okay.
Yeah,
I think it's all right. I think it's part of life. If you don't cry, you're pretty fucked up.
You're holding it in, or something's up. No, I get it. I mean. Well, I think as men, you're right. I think it's becoming, there's a shift happening where we're not expected to have to hide our emotions as much.
Yeah.
But I think that there's still definitely a long way to go, and I think that if people could get it fucking right from the beginning, they'd know that talking about this stuff is actually coming from a place of power, not from a place of weakness.
Right.
So if you can stand up and explain sort of what you're going through, whether it's anxiety, whether it's depression, whether you need to take medication, whether you've had a shitty past, the sooner that you free yourself of that, it is not only is it a freeing feeling, but it's just a powerful feeling.
Right. Yeah.
And it gives you more power.
I think like being vulnerable is the strongest thing that anyone, male or female, can do. Is being vulnerable and talking about your feelings. Right.
Yeah.
I think that we built a society, especially I just know from my experience in my home growing up, it was like you don't talk about your feelings, you shove them down deep, you soldier up, and you get going on. And man, did that ever fuck me up?
I know.
Even just that teaching that my family gave me screwed me up into my 30s. You know what I mean? I'm finally learning alternative healing methods that like it's okay to talk about being sad, right? It's okay to talk about your emotions. And at this point, I'm glad I'm at this point that. Like I don't care if you see me cry.
Yeah,
I care less. I don't know. I could care less if you're going to judge me about crying.
You
know what I mean? Like
not at all, man. It shows me that you're real. I like it. I feel more. Yeah, I feel more connected to people that show me what they're going through. I mean, obviously, if you're kind of up and down, we have some work to do. Right. But if you're feeling something deeply and you need to express that, by all means, I want to see that. Right?
Yeah.
So back to some of the symptoms, we'll keep going. Some of the symptoms were bewilderment or a spacey feeling. I know when I was going through some of the, like when I had anxiety, a lot of the time I felt like if there's a lot of stuff coming at me, my mind would almost turn itself off.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever?
So I get like where I just can't get anything done. I'm stuck.
Yeah,
nothing gets done. I have a whole list of things. I'm ready to do it, and then nothing gets done.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm more pissed off at the end of the day.
The overwhelming feelings and how to sort of break that down and go at it chunk by chunk.
Yeah.
But that spacey feeling I know all too well.
Oh yeah.
And once upon a time, I was flying airplanes like by myself, solo. I was trained to be a pilot, and I was flying airplanes, 250 horsepower, and they're fully aerobatic. So these planes can do spins, they can do loops, they can do you name it. They're and they fall like rocks. So when you're flying an airplane, because I wanted to face this head on, right?
I'd fly in a plane with you.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate that. I feel a little better about it now, but at that time, when you're just learning and you're on your first solo flight, and you start feeling spacey and you can't remember to, that's why they have checklists, mind you. But at the same time, there's certain things you have to memorize, like airspeeds and things like that. Right. Sometimes you're just like, holy fuck,
Hang on.
I remember I had.
Where am I?
Yeah. I had an emergency I had to do an emergency landing in Elliott Lake because I lost my radios one time.
Okay.
And everything went out the window. It was an uncontrolled airport. I don't even think I made a radio call. I just fucking landed the airplane on the runway. So that was probably me shutting down and just trying to make it safe.
Yeah.
But anyways, so their explanation is that the mind becomes so overwhelmed and consumed with these feelings of anxiety that it shuts down and slows down right to the point where it can cope. So it kind of zones everything else out and only takes in what's absolutely necessary. Yeah. So it's like a survival response.
Right. Yeah.
Which is interesting. Because a teacher could be yelling at you about your homework. You're not listening to the teacher anymore. You're just focused on that spacey feeling in your head.
Exactly, yeah.
So
in the summertime, I had an experience with that. Like, I've never experienced anxiety like that much where it crippled me.
Yeah.
And then one time in the summer when I was dealing with a whole bunch of crap, I couldn't leave my house.
Really?
Yeah, I couldn't leave my house. I was so stuck in that moment of fear of what would happen if I faced this person that I'm like, wow, like now I know what this feels like.
Yeah.
Like it is real.
Yeah.
It is real.
To have like crippling anxiety.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never knew that. And because my, a member of my family has that, and, now I understand what she goes through. Like, it's real.
Mm-hmm.
And then another time, like, there was an article that I got from, I woke up one morning, or before I went to bed, I kind of put it out in the universe, like, how do I deal with this person? Because I knew they had suffered from anxiety. Like, how do I talk to them? Whatever. Or I didn't know what they were dealing with. I didn't know if it was bipolar. I didn't know if it was
but you knew something.
Something, right?
Yeah.
And I just didn't know what. And so I kind of put it out there. When I woke up in the morning, my phone went off, and it was an email from this website called Hearts and Harmony, Gillian Hendricks or whatever, those guys.
Yeah.
And it was how anxiety can rob you of your life. And
really?
So that article pinpointed her exactly.
Wow.
And it really made it clear to me, and it's exactly that. When someone's in that state, they'll do things and say things to hurt people, and they don't even know that they're doing it just to go back to their safe zone.
Yeah.
And they actually say that they detach from reality.
Yeah.
Right?
Sometimes they're so focused on the feelings that they're feeling, they just need to try to get back to their safe
so
place.
They'll do anything and everything to get there.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. That's not it's not something to be taken lightly, because I've gone through that too, where it's just like you rudely kind of have to get up and leave a situation. And that was some of my ex-girlfriends will be able to tell you about that, but there was times when I had to leave situations because I couldn't cope with the feelings, and I just darted.
Right. I think that comes in personal safety though, right? You gotta.
But there was nothing there that was going to hurt me, right?
Oh,
it
no,
was just
for sure. I think
it was me that was thinking about these things.
Right. I think I've been in the same headspace where I've had to deke out, and I think it comes down to a few things. I don't want this person to see me in this shitty state.
Yeah, that's a huge one too.
You know what I mean? Stigma.
And stigma, and potentially being embarrassed.
Right.
Because people with anxiety and often depression, sometimes embarrassment is more a fear than dying for them.
Oh, I hate being embarrassed.
Did you hear on the tape when the guy said, he's like, I was on the balcony and I was afraid I was going to jump off and kill myself. She's like, oh, so you're afraid of dying? He's like, no, I was afraid what people would think at the party.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
that's crazy as that thought.
Yeah.
Right? he's not afraid of dying.
He's afraid of what people will think.
Right?
And his mind's kind of playing these tricks on him.
Right.
So the lady who, like, in the plane, she was afraid of flying, but it wasn't that. She's like, if I knew how to fly the plane, I'd be okay.
Yeah, it was a control thing for her.
Yeah.
So someone else had the control.
Yeah.
and that's the thing. I think we're going to get into that a lot in this course, is the fact that
when you're out of control.
Yeah, exactly. You can't control a lot of the things that you potentially think you can control. You can't control other people. You can't control the weather. You can't control a lot of the things that happen in life. You can only control what goes on in here and how you respond and react to external stimuli, really.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's nothing to be afraid of if you start to feel these things, like the spaciness and some of these symptoms that scare you. It doesn't, I think for me, I felt this too, but a lot of people think like it's a precursor to mental illness. This is just anxiety, and the way that you think has a lot to do with it.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's not a precursor to mental illness, so don't be afraid. I know that's easier said than done, but we will kind of take you through the steps that you need to sort of change the way that you think, so that you don't even feel that anymore. Else you laugh about it down the road. So let's go through and discuss some of the symptoms of depression then. Some of the symptoms of depression can be fatigue, so feeling very tired with no energy. Maybe you slept all night and you still feel tired, and you wonder, why should I be feeling like this? I slept all night. But you'll know about this, Scott, but other symptoms that'll kick in will be appetite disturbance, feelings of sadness, tearful with no apparent cause, difficulty concentrating, weight gain, weight loss, and then it goes back to difficulty sleeping. So you can either sleep too much or you can have no sleep. It depends on the person that you are. And you can have trouble focusing with memory loss. And memory loss is a big one for me too, because it gave me more anxiety. I felt like I was losing my mind. And it's just like, now I laugh at it. It's like, you know what, it's just anxiety. I got a bit of that brain fog. Yeah. If I don't remember it now, it doesn't mean I'm going insane.
Right.
It doesn't,
that's where, like, the confusion comes in. It's like when I was going through depression symptoms without knowing that it was depression, I was so confused.
Yeah.
Like, I thought, like, why am I sleeping 2 hours a night and then sleeping 12 hours the next night?
Right.
And then just feeling like shit, basically. But I didn't know what depression was. No one told me that this was depression. So I was, like, so confused on, like, am I dying?
Yeah.
Like, am I dying from something that I don't know? And really it was just depression. I mean, like, depression's a diagnosis, but I, especially now, try not to live with that definition, right? Like, definitely have some depressive moments, and at least now I'm not so confused about it. Like, I know that it's depression symptoms. I don't think, like you said, like, fuck, am I going crazy here?
Yeah.
Like, and that was a big thing for me when I got diagnosed with depression. It was almost a relief, right? That at least I knew what was going on. I didn't know any solutions on how to fix it at that point. Yeah. But at least I knew what it was, or at least I knew like I had social anxiety. Right. And I would get like all
me too,
like freaked out on the city bus. Like I couldn't be on the city bus very much. Or
what about like in a lineup at a grocery store?
I hate grocery shopping. It's worse.
Yeah.
I would much rather do dishes.
Yeah.
Than, you know, like I gotta find a girl that I'll do the dishes and she can do the grocery shopping, and it's not like a domesticated thing. It's just I don't like going to the grocery store. Like,
Fair enough.
Just don't like being around a lot of people. And even when I speak, like, people say, "Oh, you have social anxiety," but you speak in front of like 2,000 people at an event.
But they're not so close to you, crowding your space.
Right, and I say I don't really have to talk to those people afterwards.
Right. Yeah.
So I can look out into a crowd, but I don't. The thing it's a struggle for me is what if I know people in the crowd. Yeah. And I know that they're watching me. Yeah. That's a struggle for me with my anxiety. But if I don't know anyone, it's easy breezy. I get off the stage and say see you later. Right?
I found that too. You and I obviously have different things we talk about. I get up on a stage and talk about sex, but and pass out sex toys. Right. But that's a little different. But it's still, I mean, the same thing. I try to still use this as being your mind as being the most powerful sexual organ that you possess. Right. As a segue into making sure that you stay mentally healthy. Right. And really focusing on consent. That's a side topic. But I know what you mean, because there's been people that I've known in the audience, and for some reason, when people are there watching, I stumble a little bit more.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, why the fuck couldn't they have been there when I did that perfect show, you know, in England or whatever?
Right.
I love grocery shopping.
Do you? Yeah.
Go figure, right?
Yeah, well, everybody's different.
Costco.
You can do my grocery shopping anytime.
Maybe we can exchange tasks somehow.
I'll do the dishes, you do the grocery shopping.
And this is